You know what? Seth, you just threw me, man. I didn't think about it. Like, I didn't even think about that. But you know what? Dumbledore is a butthole.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Rolling Credits. Of course, I'm Seth, one of your lovely hosts. We have Gums, Pat, and Kirby, and we're joined by a couple guests today. The first one that we're bringing on is Lauren. So say hi, Lauren.
Hello.
So with the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter that, aired over the weekend, we thought, what better time to talk about one of the best movie series of all time than right now. So we have a lot of important questions. The first question that I really just want to get off the bat here, what house are you guys in? I know you guys all did the Sorting Hat, Universal Studios, took the Pottermore quiz. So let's go with you, Gums. I feel like you're like Hufflepuff, aren't you?
You fucking wish I was Hufflepuff. They would honor me. I would be their deity, and they would bow to me. You know what? Growing up, man, I was Gryffindor. I was like Harry, like where I had a choice. As I got older, I went straight Slytherin. Like I said, F you, F this, and I started getting real Slytherin. So I choose to be in Slytherin house. I like what they do over there. They got a great insurance plan. I can do whatever the hell I want, become the most powerful, because that's all I want to be, is the most powerful wizard. And they're okay with that over there. And I can still be kind of good when I want to. So real anti-hero stuff I like.
Fair.
Slytherin.
I respect that.
A good insurance plan was high on your list there. Like that was really,
on my list.
I was like, it's like I'm shopping for places to live. Like I want, hey, car insurance rates are good in this city, kind of thing. I'm going for Slytherin.
Dude, flying car insurance rates are overpriced.
Yeah,
I'm gonna whip the broom around. I need to know what the insurance plan looking like.
What about you, Pat?
So I did when I went to Universal, I did the hat thing and got Gryffindor or whatever. But like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, let's be honest here, probably a Hufflepuff. Like, you know what I mean? I know Hufflepuff grows the best weed. Like, there's no way it's not the case, right?
No way they don't.
Let's keep it a buck here, like.
I want some of that Dobby Kush.
Yeah, like, what are they they're growing some crazy shit. Like, they're mellow. They're not getting too involved. Like, they're showing up to the events. They're having fun. They're the guys having a good time. Like, Slytherin and Gryffindor, y'all can beef out, do your thing or whatever. Like, we're just going to be kicking. Like, this is be doing us. Like,
that's the take we needed.
Yeah.
What about you, Kirby and Lauren?
Well, I'm gonna be, the exact opposite of Gums. Every time I have taken that quiz, Gryffindor. Every time, no matter how much I want Slytherin, and I try actively to get Slytherin on that test, it's always Gryffindor. So Gums and I gonna be beefing a little bit, as today goes. But yeah, I've gotten Gryffindor every time.
So Kirby, before you go forward, I kind of want to know how you always get Gryffindor. Is it like what type of question are you choosing to always get Gryffindor? Is it like, hey, what would you rather do? Save this baby or not save this
pizza.
baby?
Baby or pizza?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I choose the baby every time. That's my problem.
The world.
I've got the hero complex. I'm always trying to make the right decisions, and somehow that always lands me in Gryffindor.
You're fun in RPG games. I can see it now.
Hey, come play with us, Gums. We're always on.
Sure. I'm over here with my Talon Claw 1. I'm trying to.
So I've actually taken the test a couple times online, and every time I get Hufflepuff.
Okay, I see what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Going with what Pat was saying, we're kind of like, you guys will do the work. We're kind of over here, grading on a curve. We just kind of go by.
Yeah. Like they'll be beefing it out all podcasts. You and me are just gonna be posted at the time of our lives.
Eating popcorn.
Yeah, just like vibing. We got great food, just hanging in the corner.
Yeah, that's
fun. Is Hufflepuff just like the average student at this point? Are they like?
They're the just chill.
They're like the most average.
They're just high all the time.
I just think of them as like, they do well in school, but like most of the time, like they're just vibing. Like it's just like no real beef. Like they're listening to like reggae and like maybe some pop punk in the corner, just hanging out, like not doing shit.
There you go.
These are some great houses. So I also did Universal Studios, had them put the hat on me. Did the Pottermore quiz as well, and I did get Gryffindor. Your boy's a Gryffindor.
There you go.
I can see it.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. I actually was Ravenclaw, so shout out, Luna.
You were.
Yeah, I was Ravenclaw
There you go.
Nice.
3 times in a row, so I feel like it has to be right.
It is what it is,
right there, yeah.
Did you keep taking it so you'd get something else, or were you just like trying?
Well,
I was trying to get.
the hat will take your suggestions in
Yep.
consideration.
Yep.
So
Right.
I mean,
Right.
but no,
Apparently, it just said no to Gryffindor.
Yeah, it's like, no.
Yeah, it's like,
like,
get out of
nice
here.
try.
Like not today.
Yeah.
So similar to Kirby, when it asked you if 2 + 2 was 4, you couldn't lie. You were like, "Gosh, it's fucking 4, man." Like, I can't say it's 5, so I get in a Gryffindor. I have to say it's 4. I'm freaking Ravenclaw.
See,
Yeah.
the Gryffindor answer is 2 + 2 is whatever the hell I want it to be.
Yeah. And you
Yeah,
got Pat over here like, what's 2 + 2 in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, it's like, hey man, so it's
We're
bigger
all
than the numbers, man.
We're all equal.
It's okay. So if we got Gryffindor, obviously we know kind of like just from the movies like what their story are, and like Slytherin is like the nemesis to that and everything. And we've established that Hufflepuff is like the the laid back chillers of the group. What is Ravenclaw's identity
Yeah.
relative? Are they're the nerds kind of thing. They're kind of like
Well, that
they're the
fits
ones
me.
that get good grades.
Yeah.
that
Fair.
fits me.
That's fair.
From what I understand, that's what they're supposed to be.
Okay.
It's more of like the snippety, nerdy, correct you when you say we are instead of we're, or some, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's-
also your accountant, Pat, for when you do your Hufflepuff things.
When it's tax season, I'm hitting up a Ravenclaw. That's
Yep.
what I got going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great. Luna's the only person like in Ravenclaw that's like semi-famous, right? I don't think there's any other big ones in there.
I think it's definitely the big one, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anything
What
off the top
about
of my head.
Cho? Is Cho
Is
a
she
Ravenclaw?
Ravenclaw?
I thought she was Gryffindor, wasn't she?
I
Yeah.
thought Cho was a Ravenclaw. I'll have
Oh,
to look it up.
Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Google will tell us.
Google.
So, since we all have our houses, which of the Harry Potter movies was your favorite? And I want to start with you, Lauren, since you're our guest.
I'm gonna have to say the last one, part 2, just because of the whole Snape redemption, and you finally we rewatched the series, with the anniversary, and like you start picking stuff up that you would not have noticed because I knew the ending. So it's just the whole. I really liked the ending and Snape's little thing.
Mhm.
So I have to say the last one.
That's fair.
It's a great movie. Kirby?
I gotta say, Order of the Phoenix, to me is probably my favorite. Just because that movie to me, especially rewatching it this past time, is where the series really, like the darkness in the series really hit for me. Because like even in like Goblet of Fire, like there was still a little bit of that, that fun, like wizardy feeling to the series. And then Order of the Phoenix, the Ministry of Magic comes in and takes over Hogwarts. You've got Umbridge being a giant cunt, and that to me just it really drove home like how dark the series was going, like the direction that it was going. And rewatching it this last time, seeing like the takeover of Hogwarts by the Ministry of Magic really reflected a lot of what's going on in real life for all of us today. Just how dark things have felt over the past couple of years. So that
Only
one
we
to
had a
me-
Harry Potter.
What's up?
I said if only we had our own Harry Potter.
So that's it for me. I'm gonna have to go with Order of the Phoenix.
Pat?
I'm gonna say Goblet of Fire. I loved the Triwizard Tournament concept. I thought it was cool. I also thought too, just like the idea for that movie to really end in a death scene kind of thing. I thought that was wild for like for a movie that was like it's obviously inherently a kid's movie, right?
Mhm.
Like especially with the setups from the first two, like being more just like directed to like that age group, to end that third one on just like such a heavy death scene in such like of like Robert Pattinson's character
Mhm.
and like really kind of digging in. It was kind of like that whoa concept, right?
Yeah.
And it's a crazy story. You bring in so many cool characters. It kind of also really introduces this like concept of this larger wizarding world, right? Because you get like all the other schools kind of coming in and being a part of that, where they obviously kind of hint at it in the other movies, but it doesn't really like exist. But this movie kind of really brings that more to life because now they're all in Hogwarts. They're all competing against each other. They have their headmasters versus our headmasters, and you kind of see that dynamic. So I thought that was a really cool part of that series to add in there.
Yeah.
Or Cedric.
Or Cedric, man. Like
that scene where the dad comes down hits me every single
oh,
time.
dude.
It's just
So gnarly.
It's just the pain in his voice,
Yeah.
and it kind of it's like you said, it's kind of the switch of okay, this isn't like a kids movie anymore. This is real life, serious stuff is happening.
That's like one of the last. That's like where the movie ends.
Yep.
Like so, you're like, dude, like what? Like so, you're just left with this massive cliffhanger.
What about you, Gums? What do you got for us?
The best movie? That's tough, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna say The Half-Blood Prince. I think that's for me the best movie, but it was neck and neck with what Patrick had said. And the only reason I'm choosing Half-Blood is because he chose that. I want some diversity in here because like it's just that's the only real reason. I think The Half-Blood Prince just went all the way dark. You can see the cinematography in it is dreary. It's always like shot on a cold day with gray skylighting. Like everything is just dark and down and weird. And it's a very forgotten about book and movie. Like I don't think anybody, it's like a skipped over one. And I think that's why, because it has its own magical presence to literally be skipped in that series. But it is kind of like the movie that puts a lot of things together and puts them in a neat bow and solves a lot of the puzzles we had right before the main fight of the next movies, right? So like it is a much needed in between movie that puts everything together for us.
True. I like that.
True.
See, I'm gonna go against the grain here. My favorite movie is Prisoner of Azkaban. I absolutely love that movie, and I think that's really when it started to get like dark. Yeah, and like Sirius Black shows up. We got werewolves, which is sick. But I think the one thing that like what really turned me is like you actually are getting like real villainous people. Like Dolores Umbridge shows up, and I honestly think she's the most hated character. Like screw Voldemort and Draco. Umbridge is like on another level entirely. Yeah. So
well,
you get the
Umbridge doesn't get like a redemption in any way.
No.
Like she like
She
Draco
deserve one.
Furious like you come to love those characters in and of themselves. Like Umbridge is there literally just to fuck up your day. That's about it.
Yeah, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
And
She's
Draco got a
old
badass
enough.
name.
He does have a badass name.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go against the grain here. Is there a character you like absolutely hated the most? Like obviously you have Voldemort, Draco, Bellatrix. Which one of those was like every time they were on screen, you're just like, because obviously it's Umbridge for me, but
hard for it not to be Umbridge.
Yeah.
It's like because even like Bellatrix, you're like it's like there's something that I actually do love about that character.
Absolutely.
It's just so twisted and crazy, and like Helena Bonham Carter like just goes full into it. And she's batshit, like, and it's just
She's
so
awesome.
crazy. Yeah,
You believe
I think either that or Lucius Malfoy. Lucius Malfoy is definitely one that every time he's on screen, I'm like, this guy sucks. Like,
he was just a scared dad. He was just a scared dad, bro. He was just doing what he had to for his family.
I get that, but he still sucks. Still one time on screen, I'm like, dude, you suck so much. Like,
For sure.
Comes is yours, Umbridge. Who's yours?
No, man, mine's actually freaking Gilroy Lockhart. This piece of shit, just every time he's on the screen, I'm like, you're super fucking annoying. And I know you're lying. And everybody around you knows you're lying. And in real life, those are just people I hate. Where like you got to stay silent because you know that you might have been there or the truth, you know, the actual truth. And you're just like, I'm just going to let this person run with it because I don't want to get in an argument about how fucking dumb they are, how just stupid they are. And so like those people in real life really make me mad. And so I really just didn't like Gilroy Lockhart. He's also a Ravenclaw. Cho was also a Ravenclaw. But I didn't like him one fucking bit. I thought it was just like, get him off the TV. He's stupid. And he's a terrible
really feel.
yeah, he was a terrible wizard too. It was just like, come on, man. Get out.
Kirby, Lauren, what about you guys?
I mean, I'm gonna just go with the obvious answer is Umbridge. There was
Yeah.
no reason for her to be in any of those movies other than to be a gigantic bitch.
Yeah.
Like that's what her character was.
100%.
Every time she was on screen, I just wanted her to get yeeted into like a ball of fire.
Taken by centaurs.
Oh yeah. So it's absolutely her. Like she embodies like just everything that I despise about just some people in general.
I'm gonna say Umbridge as well, because any villain in the series, they have their quote unquote reason of why they are the way they are. You start seeing into pasts of what made them that person, and this person is she's just evil, like no reason. She likes being evil. That's the thing. She likes hurting the kids. She gets joy from it. So I think that's pure evil. Because you can say that all the other characters, Malfoy, it's his upbringing, it's the pressure that is on him, so that kind of formed his evilness, but then he kind of redeems himself at the end. But she just has no redeeming qualities at all, and she does actually get joy from hurting the kids.
I feel like her and Harry's adopted dad should get together.
Yeah.
Checks.
That'd be a good combination.
I do gotta give a little bit of a tip to kind of the directors and like the costume departments for her character a little bit, just because the way that they build her character as like someone who's almost always wearing like bright colors and is like intentionally smiling 90% of the time that she's talking, and like the way that they build her almost to be like this like kind of like a bad nun kind of thing, like almost concept. Or like or just like that. Just that way that they build that character for you to be like, whoa, like it's like that slight craziness of from a villain that just does terrible shit all the time is a really kind of creative and wild way to build a villain within a series and like a situation. So I thought that was a really cool way that they built that character, even though she's absolutely terrible.
Just to add to that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Lauren. I want to hear it.
Just to add to that, so it poses the whole don't judge a book by the cover, because if you took a picture of her, she's bright pink, that's what good people look like. She's very bright and beautiful. And then you show like Snape and it's like this dark, heavy person. You realize that he's actually not the bad guy. So it's kind of just because you're in Slytherin doesn't mean you're a bad person, all that stuff. So it really does. Like, I like the way that they made her really bright. Her hair is perfectly, everything about her is perfect. And then she is the most evil person in the world, which if you just saw like a picture of her, you'd be like, oh, she looks very nice. She's going to make me cookies on a Sunday. Like, she's so nice.
Yeah, that for me, I feel like the reason I didn't say I disliked her the most is because the writing of that character in the books and the writing of that character in the movies was so spot on. Like, it was so good that it's like, I can't not like you because I know for a fact that you exist in the real world. And that's why I feel this way about you. So this was a real person in probably JK's life, or and I know for a fact somewhere out there she was a real person, because there's people just like that. Misery loves company, and she really loved to control stuff, and when stuff didn't go her way and wasn't controlled, she flipped out and lost it. And it's just like, I don't know how many people I've seen over my lifetime that were just like that, that went undercover like that, and that's why I couldn't say that I didn't like her, because damn, if she rocked that role, man, she should have got an Emmy, an Oscar, whatever they give for that.
It's funny you like bring that up too, because like in movies there's always like, sometimes you get that gem of a character that you just hate so much. Like a good example is Christoph Waltz in Glorious Bastards. Like he played that role so perfectly, and you just hate the freaking guy. Like
So the character's designed to hate.
Yeah.
But they just play it perfectly.
Yeah.
So
she was worse in the books too. Umbridge was worse in the books, which was kind of crazy. But that's based off a real character, and that's something that was fun. It was a good add into the whole book, into the whole movie, just having that person, because it's real, it's relatable.
Yeah.
So we got one last question here for you, Lauren. Which Deathly Hollow object would you pick? You got the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, of course, the Invisibility Cloak. But I wanted to start with you. So which one would you pick?
Well, I did put a lot of thought into this. So it's not which one would I pick, which one other choose I would not want. So I kind of thought of it that way. So the Elder Wand kind of drove you crazy because of how much power it was given, and the Resurrection Stone, you know, whatever you resurrect will never come back the way that it left you. So I'm going with the cloak, and the reason I'm going for the cloak is because of the story that they did present it, where you were kind of escaping death and you were hiding death, but it wasn't a selfish act, because at the end it was passed down to another generation. So he kind of chose when to reveal himself and be taken. So when it comes to those three, I would say the invisibility cloak for that reason, because I think it's the less selfish thing to do.
Fair.
Kirby?
I'm also going with the cloak, just because I want to be a ninja. And
No, not selfish.
not selfish at all, but I could, could steal some shit.
Sounds real Gryffindor-like there.
Well, I mean, okay,
yeah.
If you think about it, the wand you won't need, because you can just like pop in on a motherfucker and they won't know you're there, and like bam, you're done. The resurrection stone, you're hiding from death. Why, you're not going to be resurrecting yourself unless you pull a Harry and sacrifice. But you know what? I'm not Harry, so I would go with the cloak, because I could be a ninja all day.
I feel like this is going to be a clean sweep, but Gums, what do you got for us?
I wrote it down. I also too chose the cloak because I want to do Slytherin shit with my Slytherin friends. That's literally it. Like, the wand is cool. It is the most powerful wand. I would never lose in a battle. Like, a lot of this is hyperbole. Like, the stories were just like hyperbole, and it's like, hey, this wand is the strongest wand in existence. Basically, I can fight you with it, and I'm gonna win 100% of the times, unless you can outskill me somehow. But pure power of a wand, you win. The Resurrection Stone, it's just like it's gonna keep you old, or it's gonna keep you alive, but you're gonna be old and dusty like Nicholas Flamel, right? Like, and then I guess you could come back. Maybe, I don't know. They didn't really get into that, because I guess Voldemort comes back, but he more comes back because it's because of his Horcruxes, right?
Yep.
So he's got these Horcruxes. It's not so much the stone. So the stone really was just keeping you alive, but you're all old and dusty. So it's like, what's the point? And so I was just like, I'd rather just take that cape and just do some Slytherin shit with my Slytherin friends, man. and apparently that's Kirby.
Yeah.
And
we'd be doing some wild shit.
Good luck finding me.
And then I guess, we'll slide down to Lauren and Pat's dorm room and help them move some stuff across state lines. Apparently, I don't know what we're doing.
You do it better, so I'll just watch you do it and I'll learn. So you just do it for me.
Go.
Yeah,
we're gonna get back on some plate.
Yeah, I'll take notes.
Getting a call.
Let's go to look up for the Dobby Kush.
Exactly.
Apparently, I'm getting a call to do some stuff, and I think it's funny because if Slytherin is opposite to Gryffindor, I actually think we are become best friends in real life, because opposites attract. So
yep, that's fair. Very fair. We'd be doing some crazy shit.
Balance me, Kirby. Balance me.
Pat, you can't break the grain here.
I'm not.
Yeah.
But mine's more definitely like a very real world practical thing, right? Because anybody who's like drank with me before, so Seth and Kirby have both had the pleasure, know that I am very well known for the Irish goodbye.
Yep.
It is a very, very much documented thing that, especially when I've had way too many, I'm just gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so life would be a lot easier for me in that scenario. Instead of me just stumbling out into the middle of nothing, I'm throwing on the cloak and I'm just like, I'm just dipping out. I get in and out of there like nothing. No one's seen me in, no one's seen me go. I'm just out.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty much already what's happening.
Hey, but it's just, I'm making a sly escape now. I'm not bumping into anybody in. No records of me. I've done the whole like Irish goodbye, and then I've seen people the next day. They're like, yeah, I just saw you sprinting down the street. Where the hell were you going? That kind of thing. No more of that, because no one's gonna see me sprinting down the street.
Yeah,
it's gonna be stumbling around in the club.
The Irish goodbye is just you leaving without saying anything?
Yep.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I thought it might have been like you break out in a full song and dance and sing a shanty, and you're just like, me by the sea, and I'm leaving. You know what I mean?
So much better. I want that.
Awesome.
There's a jig involved.
Yeah, that'd been sweet.
I'm going to buy you like a bagpipe I'm gonna buy you a bagpipe. You're gonna bring it to the next night we go drinking. Just bagpipe your way out.
No more just leaving without saying anything. I'm just gonna Irish jig out of every bar.
Yes.
I would have looked at one time at Pat as he's doing his Irish leave and literally followed right behind him. I'd have gave him that side eye, like, oh, he's gone, I'm gone. Let's get out of here, man. There's the nearest Taco Bell, baby. We're going somewhere right now. So
imagine seeing somebody Irish jigging out of the bar. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna follow that guy.
So, I'm going with him.
I don't know what he's doing, but it looks like fun. Like,
he's kicking his feet.
I like that. I like I said, Queen Sweep. I also chose the cloak. Just because like there's so much potential there.
Yep.
Like there's so many things you can do with the cloak, and the Elder Wand's supposed to be like make you invincible and this badass, but freaking Dumbledore loses the wand from Draco. Draco literally just shoots it out of his hand, and that's it. He's no longer the wand's owner. So it's like, how invincible?
He's manipulating the whole situation. Dumbledore doesn't really lose battles. He did all that shit for a reason.
That was on purpose.
That was on purpose. So what's his name couldn't get it.
This is true. Yeah.
Well, think of it this way. If you have the cloak, no one knows you have the cloak because you're always disappearing. The Elder Wand, everyone will be coming for you all the time because they know you have the wand.
Yep.
And the Resurrection's like, why does he look like that? He looks like 152. Like,
yeah.
Why are you 9,000 years
unnatural.
old? Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I would like to see a movie where they put all three together. That'd be pretty sweet. But if they can be made, that means they can be destroyed, and also they can be remade again, or there could be something else that rivals them. So I'd really like to see a little bit more about that, because if you're telling me 300 years ago that magic was much more potent and I could make all these really cool things, like, what about now? Is magic dwindled? Like, what's the backstory here? Like, why can't I make a better one now that I have Ollivander, who's who can do all this wand research and all these charms, and what I mean, like.
That's kind of a good point, actually, that they don't really ever address in the movies or anything like that, in that, they're always kind of teaching these same courses, but they're always like these like old concepts, right? Like, it's not like, when you took like tech classes, right? Like a tech class in the 80s is a lot different than taking like computer science in 2021, right? But like, wizardry and like Defense Against the Dark Arts in 2001 when the first movie came out, it's like pretty much the same by the time you got to the end. It's the same 3 unusable spells and stuff like that. It's all the same kind of thing. Just like, does the progression of tech and research just like not exist in this universe?
And they're living in castles, Pat. You ask yourself that question.
But it's a magic castle.
That's fair. That's fair.
Honestly, I think what's really going on here is they're paying private school money for a public school.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm over here like, welcome to my magical mansion. Isn't that right, Alpendorf? Yeah, I'm Alpendorf.
50-50 shot you die this year, we'll kind of see how it goes. Like, it might be a troll in the bathroom. We don't know.
I do love how, like, in almost, all of the, like, the first movies, like, they always say, like, Hogwarts is the safest place to be. Motherfuckers are almost dying every single year. How is it the safest place? Like,
well, percentage-wise, how many students there are versus how many die. It's a very small percentage. It's called politics.
Somebody's lying here. Like,
you should see Victor Crumb and his boys. It's a fight to the death every day.
To say, like, well, how many people did we keep alive this year? I mean,
There's 0 accidents this week.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
just throw the cloak over him. He's fine.
Yeah, he's all right. He's cool.
It's like balancing the force, like in Star Wars, where you have to kill a number of wizards so there's enough magic to go around for the new ones.
Exactly.
It's got to kind of murder them.
I'm gonna pull an old one. Logan's Run. They have to die so the new ones can come. It's fine.
Right. Right.
Fair.
And what's cool is that there's an American version. There's American schools, all 4 of them, that have some amazingly cool and crazy backstories. I recommend you guys go on Pottermore and take the quizzes for those schools as well. Those are super sweet, and it's like one of them's like a Native American school, and I'm like, I'm in. I'm gonna be a shapeshifter. I don't know if that's the thing, and that's cool.
Down for that. Yeah.
I'm there.
Is Nighthawk the character in that?
Yep.
Night Wolf. Yeah.
Night Wolf. Yeah.
That's where Night Wolf came from, bro.
Yeah. He's calling down bears and eagles and shit. Night Wolf's my favorite Mortal Kombat character.
Mine too.
Pat knows we played.
Yeah.
just the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, man.
thanks for joining us, Lauren. Hope you enjoyed. Do you have any last words for us? Anything you wanted to ask?
Nope. Just kidding. Don't put me on the spot. No,
Sorry.
just thank you for having me join you guys, and I can't wait to see the full the podcast that you guys do, so I can see what you guys were saying about me when I wasn't here. So, man.
Fair.
We talk so
good
much shit.
things.
We talk so much crap the whole time.
Whole time, yeah.
Well,
Whole
just
time.
know
Always good.
you guys are very far away. He's not that far.
Yeah.
It's about time you need that invisibility cloak, right?
Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, I can't be a mischief with that invisibility cloak.
right.
I'm a Hufflepuff. I can't Starlet him.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
So with that being said, stay tuned, everyone. We have another guest coming on. One of my family. I don't even know how to describe it. She's my cousin's wife. So she's going to be joining us here in a few. Her name's Adina. So I hope you all get soaked.
As Vin Diesel says, family.
Yeah.
Family.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for checking out this episode of the Rolling Credits podcast. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please drop us a like, hit that subscribe button. If you are listening to the audio-only version of this podcast, please consider giving us a 5-star rating. It really helps us out. Now, let's keep it rolling.
So Adina, I know we've been talking a lot about Harry Potter today. One of the questions that I had for everybody is the character death that hurt you the most. So since you're our guest, I wanted to start with you.
Oh, I have to say Dobby. That was the worst death. Every single time I rewatch that movie, I know it's gonna happen, but I cry so much.
What makes you cry?
Just everything about this scene. Everything. They're on the beach and just his eyes are wide open and just Harry is getting emotional. So then I feel like I have to get emotional. It's just the whole part. That is still, I'm gonna cry now. It's a very emotional thing for me, guys.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Gums?
I think if you don't cry at Dobby's part, you're not real. You're not a human.
Yeah. Dead inside.
That death comes in second to G Baby, in Hardball. It's the only other death that beats that out. For me, actually, my top death is actually Fred's death. Fred Weasley. I didn't see it coming.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I really I wasn't even a big fan of the twins. I was like, oh, look at these pranksters. They're pretty decent at magic. They're fun. But then as you learn about them later on in the series, what they do, how they already had the Martyrs map, how they know the ins and outs. These guys could actually be some pretty overpowered wizards if given enough room to grow. And even their older brothers, even though the Weasley family is supposed to be laughed on, their older brothers are stacked. We're talking dragon tamers and all this stuff. And it's really overlooked. But when Fred died, it's just I didn't see it coming. And it was to save his older brother. And it was just a very emotional part. What are you doing, JK? Do you want me to put this down? So I go Fred, mainly because it's just one of those things you didn't see coming. And I think even she regrets that she killed him. And it's widely known about that. So.
It is kind of one of those deaths where you're kind of like, what the hell, dude? Did we need this? Did we need to kill this character off? But it does hit a little heavy in that sense.
Yeah. Did we have to kill John Wick's dog?
Yeah, right?
No.
I don't know, but it works.
That death hurt, but without it, we wouldn't have John Wick, right?
Fair, facts.
What about you, Pat?
When I was thinking about this, I really wanted to say Dobby too, just 'cause in it, that scene is so powerful in and of itself, especially relative to that movie. But I think when I really settled down on it, I'm actually gonna go with Snape. And I think that it's mainly due to because that one I feel like you knew you knew he had to die almost in its own set, and it's still you still felt the weight of it. And then especially as the movies as it kind of goes through that movie, you learn all the things he's done for Harry and the trio and the character and for Dumbledore. And especially when you go and when we watch the first movie and your image of Snape versus your image by the time he dies in the end of the last movie, you're this is just such a crazy character arc. And it just it takes you through this roller coaster that you just don't really expect out of this character that's kind of this weird anti-hero, but he's not the antagonist. So it's I think that one really was kind of it was really heavy in it of the moment. And so I think that's the one I'm taking to the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like the evil stepfather, no, Pat? Like,
Yeah.
Like he's like, I hate you because you had a baby with the woman I loved.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like,
But
you
I'll
got my
protect
girl,
you.
but like, I have to be cool with you. Like, you know, like,
What about you, Kirby? And then we'll end with me.
Well, my answer has actually changed this time around. So I have watched, Harry Potter once, as they were coming out, and then in preparation for this podcast. So initially it was Snape, just for that whole backstory, that whole scene, of like just showing everything that he's done for Harry. It's now actually Sirius Black. And it's purely because of the emotion in that scene when he dies. And it was from this interview, actually, I don't remember who they were talking to, but the day that they shot that scene where, Sirius Black dies and you see like Harry just, is very emotionally screaming. Daniel Radcliffe found out that day that his grandmother had passed. So I guess like somebody like in this interview was saying just on set, he just let out all of that, just that emotion that he was feeling, because of the death of his grandmother. And they said it was so just like raw and like visceral that everybody on set was like crying and stuff like that. So just the emotion in that scene really made that death to me just very real and kind of hit right here.
oh, that's gnarly. I had no idea about that. That was not something I had seen either.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had the same person down. I love Sirius Black. I mean, the guy is such a badass. And Gary Oldman's an absolute legend.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just like, we'll get into, the favorite movie part, but like Prisoner of Azkaban, introducing him, it's kind of like, that's when Harry Potter starts to get dark. And it's like, at the end of that movie, I mean, Harry Potter's basically lost any family that he's had, but like his real family obviously is like Hermione and Ron and stuff like that. But like his blood family and like his godfather, like all of those people are at this like gone now. So it's just like Harry's dealing with that fallout. And I just think he was such a special character.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Another one that really went on a roller coaster, right? Like you think he's a crazy person for such a long time in the Prisoner of Azkaban, and then you turn out to really just love him like by the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy.
That's because he was also, Harry thought he was getting stalked by this guy and that he wanted to get murdered by him, and then come to find out, plot twist, oh, you're my godfather and you're actually trying to help me. And then you're also a creature of the night. So
werewolves, man. And rats. It's funny, nobody ever talks about Dumbledore's death, but
True.
I think that's another one though. I think it's another one that it is like you kind of knew that one had to come, as shitty as it was. Like you knew it had to happen. Like it's the Game of Thrones logic. Like you fall in love with this character for so long, that character's dying. Like it's gonna happen. Like,
but they did it well because they added a couple twists there at the end with the Elder Wand, etc., and like who owns what. And so even though you knew it was coming, I'm glad they added that little sparkle to it, because otherwise it would have just been kind of like a plot device for death. So I really enjoyed that there was extra to that death. It was more complicated.
Yeah.
So with that being said, kind of brought up Dumbledore, because he had probably one of my favorite animals. The next question I wanted to ask for you guys is there a favorite Harry Potter character that you have and a creature? And I'll start with me, but Dumbledore's Phoenix. I need that Phoenix. That thing is so sick. And obviously Sirius Black is my favorite character. I mean, the guy's such a badass. But that's what I had for myself. What about you, Gums?
My favorite, so I'm going to answer the two-part, right?
Yeah.
Favorite character. My favorite character actually is who you guys hit on with Sirius. Sirius was an anti-hero. You know I'm a sucker for anti-heroes. If I showed you my room, there's spawn everywhere. What I love most about that guy, though, is that one, he's a werewolf, and two, he just kind of gave it to you straight up. He was in there. He was just telling you how it was, and it was just that nice change of pace. And like you said, on that third movie, things started getting dark. We got the Dementors, and he was here just like, I'm ready to kick ass and take names. Also, like, Lupin's a werewolf, and I'm a big black dog. Like, what do you want to do about it? Which is odd that, like, he got to be a werewolf and Sirius was a big black dog, but whatever, Clifford. My next part here, though, for favorite animal, dude, there's so many great animals in this. I'm actually gonna go with a thestral. And a thestral is that thing you can only see if you're like have seen death before, and so it just looks like the opposite of a hippogriff, like just a dead hippogriff. And it only made me think of I think I like this so much because it's like in a Pokemon where you got Clefairy and Gengar. We all know that Gengar is just a dead Clefairy. It's just a ghost of a Clefairy. And so for me, this thestral was like a ghost of a hippogriff, and I was like, that's a badass creature. Like, what is this thing doing in here? And that's why I chose it. It's purely off Pokemon, basically. So
we're going all nerd here. Bringing in Pokemon, I love it.
I'm just saying, go Google it.
Yeah.
See that now.
I know, right? What about you, Dina?
Oh, favorite character? Maybe a ginger thing, not really sure, but I love Ron. I think he was the comedic relief that sometimes the movies just needed. You just love him. I don't know. Like, I don't know. He's just, because the movies get so serious, but then sometimes he just messes up, does something stupid. So it was great. And then creature. Oh, Fluffy. Of course, Fluffy. 3-headed dog. Like, who would not want that?
Yeah.
Love Fluffy. We loved, my siblings and I were obsessed with Fluffy. We even named our cousin Fluffy. I mean, her name is Felicia, but she's Fluffy. We don't call her Felicia. But Fluffy was a huge dog, scary, but the only thing that put it to sleep was classical light music. So who doesn't love that?
Fluffy likes Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, it's like everybody over 30. Just put the classical music on. I need an
I agree with you, like with the way Ron really grounds like the whole comedic relief thing, especially I'd say especially in the first 6 movies, right? And where even after it does get like kind of dark after 3, he still really grounds the movie well, even with a lot darker themes throughout. The last 2 movies, it's obviously it's kind of like balls to the wall, like it's time to get it done, so you just don't see it as aggressively. But in the first 6 movies, for sure, I gotta agree with you that like Ron really helps kind of keep it light with people like dying in some pretty terrible ways. Like, and so yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting point on Ron's character.
Yeah, that is a great bring up, because in 7, when he got real dark because of the Horcrux was like messing with him, I was like offended. Like, I don't know if anybody else felt that. I was like, I need to calm the hell down.
Yeah.
Like, like, I'll out-chess you right now, bro. Like, but I don't know why I was offended, and I think that's a good point. Like, Ron was there to ground that movie.
I think too that Ron is like kind of the most relatable character because he makes mistakes, things like that. Whereas like Harry Potter's just the OG guy right there. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, he's the chosen one, but then you have like Ron who like makes mistakes, screws around all the time, brings in the comedic relief. There's more to like relate to that character in some ways.
Absolutely.
Girls like it if you're funny. So
yeah.
Hermione knows what's up.
What about you, Kirby? What's your favorite creature in?
Favorite I'll go character first. Favorite character is Snape. He's just very complex, and you don't really get how complex he is and like why he is the way he is until the end of the series, when Harry sees like all of these memories and all these flashbacks, and it shows the love that he had for his mother, and how he was treated when he was at Hogwarts, and just everything that he's done for Harry throughout the years. So he's kind of played off as this like the pseudo villain throughout most of the series. He's that guy, and then you just realize that it's born from a place of just absolute love, and that made him just a great character to me. And then the way that they just kind of kept that under wraps until like the very end, I really like the way that they played that character out and the way that unfolded. So that would be my character. Creature, the basilisk. So continuing with the nerd theme here, I used to play a lot of Magic the Gathering when I was younger, and when I started, basilisks were actually super strong in that series. So I had some decks that were built around basilisks, so that really stuck out with me. I love the basilisk.
Yeah. When did you see the first red flag from Snape? When did you know he was toxic? I'm just asking.
When did you know he was toxic the entire series?
Scene 1.
Yeah, right away. When
I figured I figured it when he threw the Patronus out and it was the doe, like Harry's mom. I was just like, come on, man. Come on, brother.
Why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do that?
What about you, Pat? I know you said you already gave the person, but
No, actually, I was just kind of commenting on ideas. So I think my favorite character still is actually going to be Hagrid.
Oh yeah,
love Hagrid.
And I was watching these movies again. It was a lot of like that had the most nostalgic feel for me was Hagrid as a character. But watching it, I kind of realized that like Hagrid is one of the simplest characters in the entire series that deals with some of the most complex problems and themes throughout the series. Like, he's just this jolly, lighthearted dude who's like the groundskeeper, and it's like all real mellow and chill, but he's like dealing with, you know, Hermione's battle against like racism in her school, like, and is like having like, you know, relationships like outside of the school, and kind of brings in these themes like outside as an animal lover, and like really just like takes care of like the students around him and stuff like that. And it's such like this, it's so funny because it's just this duality of like who inherently is just like some jolly greenskeeper who like deals with all these like real problems that exist, and it's like a catalyst for it throughout the movie series.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think I really liked him as a character. As a creature, I think my favorite creature is gonna be a hippogriff, because I just want to ride a hippogriff. I want to fly around a hippogriff. That looks sick. And
you know, we can trade sometime.
Yeah, right? Yeah, live one for a dead one.
Yeah, why not?
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
Just give me Buckbeak.
I gotta say too, honorable mention here. I think the acromantula started my fear of spiders as a child. It was that and the giant spiders from Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
Started my fear of spiders.
Yeah.
To an older age. I'm perfectly aware of that. We're okay with it. We're just confronting it. Fine.
You should watch what is it? 8-Legged Freaks or something.
Oh
like
yeah.
Great play.
Arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia.
I play video games that have spiders in them sometimes. I'll be like, nope. Like I remember first time I played Skyrim, I got like halfway into the first level and there was a big spider. I'm like, yep, pass. Turn it off. Good.
I'm noping out of this. Yep.
Yeah, I'm out. Like,
don't go in the sewers in Resident Evil 2.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I did want to make a comment about Hagrid, man. I think you touched on the surface about something very deep. Hagrid was the minority of like literally the entire movie, because he's half troll or half giant, which is very rare in that universe. And he does hit on a lot of things, and he has such a tragic backstory. Like, he was betrayed. He's literally that picturesque giant with the heart of gold, right? Like, that's kind of what that was. And he was betrayed for being too nice.
Yeah.
And then he had to be the groundskeeper, which he ended up touching they're a band of misfits, and he ended up really being the leader or mentor of these band of misfits. If you really think about it, outside of Dumbledore, it was Hagrid taking care of business and raising those kids. So somebody needs to pay him child support. So, you know, I think you touch on something that could be a whole podcast, and I just wanted to elaborate.
absolutely.
I do have a question for you guys, because I saw this the other day and I thought it was pretty epic. And since we've been talking about Snape a lot, well, how would you guys feel if we have Adam Driver playing a young Snape and go through his like spying days?
Why it fits completely, right? I think it's an easy casting decision. It kind of already sits there. I don't know.
What are spying days?
Well,
Just
like,
to clarify, I want to know.
Didn't freaking Dumbledore have him like basically become a Death Eater?
Oh, okay. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I just
No,
wanted
you're good.
clarification. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. So that's like those days of him like becoming a Death Eater and all that stuff. I think that'd be kind of cool to see.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be into that. He's got the look for it, so.
Yeah. He has the attitude too. I mean, he played it right in Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
That's fair.
Stone-faced.
What do you think, Dina? You think that would work or what?
Oh, 100%. I think again, like I think he also has the look. So I think that would be awesome.
Yeah,
I think that'd be different. You know what? Seth, you just threw me, man. I didn't think about it. Like I didn't even think about that. But you know what? Dumbledore's a butthole.
Yeah.
Like think about this. He's sending dudes off to just go fight his battles. I mean, that's what Fantastic Beasts is all about.
Yep.
Because he won't get off his ass to do something, so he goes and sends the guy. I mean, it's an awesome little flick. But then, yeah, you had Snape going undercover too. I mean, this guy was a top tier manipulator.
With the Half-Blood Prince, you find out like kind of what Snape's been doing this whole time, and he even questions that. He's like, "Hasn't the boy been through enough? Like, why are you doing this to all of us?"
Yeah. There's a lot that comes out through like the last last two movies that just paints Dumbledore as this giant dick.
Is he the villain? Is he the actual villain?
He may actually be the villain of this movie.
The guy who could stop everything by flying the eagle to drop the ring off in the volcano at Mordor. Like this dude could have stopped it all, right?
I think it's more of just like you realize that Snape's not the toxic one. Dumbledore's just toxic as all fuck. He's the one burning the shit down. Snape's just a product of his toxicity. Like, it's more of like he's the boyfriend that like winds up becoming toxic because of getting out of a toxic relationship. He's another link in the chain. Like.
Yeah, vibe with me on this now. I would actually like to see Adam Driver as young Snape, but the Death Eater part would be good, but I'd also like to see the other side of the movie where he's kind of in that adult phase and he's like still beefing and fighting with like the martyrs and stuff, Like, I want to see him kind of like go through that and like him try to take Mrs. Potter away from Mr. Potter and like see how. I mean, that's like some Twilight stuff. Like this dude's
Hogwarts days.
Yeah. Like I want to see some of that. I actually want to see some of that conflict because they had him nerded up, but he was also top of his class. He was acing his owls.
Oh yeah.
So,
I feel like if we're doing like that young of a Snape, the kid from Stranger Things, the one with the long hair, I feel like he would play that role
Finn
perfect.
Wolfhard.
Yeah. I think he would be good cast for that character.
And he had to have been battling them later too in his teen or mid-20s too, right? Because they were part of Order of the Phoenix while he was the Death Eater. So you got a lot of material to work with there.
I just I feel like there's a lot that they can still do with Harry Potter. So the next question I had for all of us here, and I'm going to start with you, Adina. What's the one snack or food that you wanted to try from the movies?
Definitely has to be the chocolate frog. I don't know about anybody else. But when they got that on the train and then the frog just jumps out the window, but the frog itself is super cool. But then the collectible card, that's what I would want. I would want to collect all of those cards because it was so interesting to watch from Harry's point of view, him looking at the card. So I would definitely want to get a chocolate frog. I know you can technically get them, but like I want the frog to leap across the train, please.
You want to catch your prey. You want to catch your dinner. So you didn't want the earwax jelly beans?
That's my second choice.
What about you, Kirby?
I mean, my first choice is the earwax jelly beans. I just want a bag of just like those mixed jelly beans. It's like Russian roulette with your candy. Because you never know what you're going to get. And that just seems like a good time to me. You could like throw somebody one and that they could get vomit. Who knows? It could be wonderful. It could be terrible. I like taking risks. So that would be mine.
Gums, what you got for me?
Fun fact, I actually threw a party and I actually served Harry Potter's jelly beans. So some people did get salt and pepper. Some people got earwax. One person got vomit. Like if that happened. I also did have a chocolate frog, wasn't alive, but I kept the trading card, so it's somewhere. I just don't know where. I might have lost it. I got Dumbledore as my holographic card. It was sick.
Cool.
Nice.
I'd actually like to try a polyjuice potion. That's what I want to try. I know that sounds weird, but one, it'd be cool just to like shapeshift, and they always say it tastes really, really bad. I mean, they were drinking it like vodka in the one movie where you had to stay hidden for a while and be Mad-Eye Moody. So I'd love to actually try that out, see what that tastes like, see what that does, and walk around for a day. Maybe as Kirby.
There you go.
Maybe I grab a guitar and do a riff real quick. They're like, that's not him.
There you go.
That'd be tight.
That was gonna be my question. You already answered who you're gonna turn into. So Kirby, if you see another you walking around,
it's Gums. All right, good to know.
Or the aliens have come.
Yeah, or the aliens. One or the other.
What about you, Pat?
I think I'm gonna have to go with the chocolate frog. Kind of the same reason. I don't know why. It's just like even like I'm always a big chocolate guy, but like even just the chocolate frog jump around, I'm like, man, that looks fucking delicious. Like it's as ridiculous as that sounds. I think y'all are psychopaths for wanting the all flavors jelly beans. That stuff made me want to throw up as a child. But like I was like, I'm good. All kinds of pass. I think as I got older too, I really wanted to try Butterbeer. I think the chocolate frog takes the cake, and then 21-year-old me said Butterbeer.
Yep.
So for me, I know everybody's touched on chocolate, but y'all are forgetting about Lupin's chocolate because that saved Harry Potter. He got his like soul sucked out from the Death Eaters, and freaking he eats just this little piece of chocolate and it revitalizes him. So whatever's in Lupin's chocolate, I want it.
Yeah, made with 100% cocoa extract, if you know what I mean. Yo, low key, I think we should have all said Harry Potter's 11th birthday cake made by Hagrid himself with the crunch in it.
Yeah.
Like maybe that. I bet you Hagrid's a hell of a baker.
Oh, dude,
yeah. It's great.
Isn't Mrs. Weasley, Ron's mom, doesn't she like have a bakery or she bakes a lot? I feel like her food would be pretty good.
Yeah. You know she can cook.
You know she's throwing down. For sure.
So, Adina, thanks for stopping by and joining us today. Do you have any last words for us? Anything you want to ask us?
No, thank you guys so much for having me. And thank you for nerding out about Harry Potter because my husband does not do that with me. He will not watch them with me at all. So thank you guys.
No, thank you so much.
Soon.
If you're enjoying this podcast, make sure to check out my movie and TV show review page called According to Seth. So it's According to Seth, and I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for some more amazing content and some fun clips. So make sure you stop by. Okay, we're back. Thank you to both of our guests for stopping in and answering some of the hard questions, the ones that really pressed you the most. But let's finish this off here with the squad. So one of the last questions, or second to last, is should Hermione have ended up with Harry instead of Ron? It is a big topic. So I want to start with Gums because I know he's been working on it for a while.
Oh yeah, it took me 10 seconds to work on this. No. Harry Potter's a little bitch. Okay? Me on the post credits, but I'll tell you what. Should he ended up with him? No. Harry didn't deserve her. And also I don't like Ginny Weasley's actor, okay? No offense, but the girl in the book was hot stuff. This girl was what she was. Love her, whatever. I can't sugarcoat it. I'll put it like this. We didn't deserve her. He wasn't talented enough, man. This dude was just an average Joe. Dude should have probably been what, Ravenclaw or something, Huh, Seth?
Kirby, what do you got?
No, I do not like Hermione and Harry. I honestly don't even really like Hermione and Ron. I think my boy Neville should have ended up with Hermione. So,
ooh,
I like that.
Hot take.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if you think about it, you've got Hermione and Neville both start off like these nerdy kids, and they both have this full-on glow up. Like, by the end of the last movie, like Neville is just like hot shit. So I want to see those two together.
I gotta interject here because before we go to you, Pat, because you bring up a good point, and I think honestly, Hermione should have ended up with Cedric if he was to survive. That's a relationship. I mean, it's basically like Kristen Stewart from Twilight, but now we got the Harry Potter version. They're perfect for each other.
It really is.
Okay, what about you, Pat? Sorry.
No, you good. Yeah, I'm kind of with Gums a little bit. I don't know if I'm like as far as Gums is going.
Yes,
I don't know about all that. But like, it does seem like from a character arc standpoint, like going from the first movie where they butt heads so much into them having their kind of romantic story as it progresses through, and especially as they hit like those puberty years with Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire, and just seeing that clash, it just fits so much better this way. I think maybe it's just something too. It's just that we've only known it this way. It's hard to envision it any other way, but it just doesn't seem to fit right with Harry and Hermione. I had never thought of the Hermione and Neville concept though. That's interesting. I kind of think I can see that way more than the Hermione and Harry situation. That one makes way more sense to me. I don't know if it makes more sense than Hermione and Ron, but it's definitely a thinker on that one.
throw a curveball at you guys, because instead of Hermione, I think Harry should have ended up with Luna.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
I can see that.
Because there was a little something there, and they were always hanging out.
That's true.
She needs more of like a Scamander type person. Like she needs somebody more low key.
Somebody kind of quirky.
Yeah, quirky and slower paced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're just shooting the shit here, I would love to see Hermione and Malfoy, like some Romeo and Juliet type shit, like Mudblood versus Pureblood. I hate you, but I love you. Our families say we can't be together, but we're gonna do it. That'd been cool.
Brought a really interesting.
Well, I mean, that would be a great pairing on screen because, you know, I think we've all watched the anniversary, and they were talking about how Emma Watson and Tom Felton, like, they kind of had little crushes on each other. You know, they said, you know, like they love each other. Like there was never been anything romantic, but they just love each other. So that chemistry could have really been interesting. You know, an interesting translation on screen.
So kind of in that vein, because I'm glad you brought that up, Curry. Me and Seth were talking a little bit earlier today, just kind of shooting the shit, talking about the documentary of itself, and specifically talking about like that section, kind of where they bring up how in that third and fourth movie about how everyone's pretty much in their teenage years and they're spending it all this time together like they're in high school, right? And how they bring up about how everyone's like having hormones and having crushes with each other on set, and that was like a big thing in those two movies. And the question came up in my head, and it's just something that is a product of our current era versus when those movies were made, because those movies came out in what was like 2005 and like 2007 or something like that. You know, in today's era, something like that happens, and two people on those sets, especially like a 13 or 14-year-old star, go on some date together outside of the set. It's on TMZ in 5 minutes, right? And producers and directors in today's era, because of social media, oftentimes really suppress that. Do you guys think that because that movie was made in that era, that the producers and the directors weren't as concerned about that and kind of let these kids be 14 and 15, you know? Or did they have to kind of shut it down a little bit and try and police the set before things got a little crazy with the press type of thing?
I don't know. When you know, when they were talking about, you know, looking back at those movies and like, you know, what was going on set when they were made, like there were a couple of comments that were made. Just they were saying that the directors, the producers, they let them be kids. Like, you know, they let us have fun. They let us do our thing. Like they, you know, rein everybody in for scenes and stuff like that, and for shooting, but they let them be kids, which is why throughout the series, like you see like that aspect, like that childlike aspect really comes out, because it was, you know, really, it was really supported by the directive staff. So I don't know. I think they might've just let him go.
Yeah. Let him get mono, like every other kid at high school. For me personally, it's just a product of the time. I don't think they were trying to suppress it. I still don't think they try to suppress that stuff as much now. I mean, look at Tom Holland and Zendaya, right? Like, it's only big because it's in this era where I think that our phones in our hands and everybody's looking for drama and gossip because they don't want to like sit in their own lives. I know that's a little depressing to say, but that's kind of where we're at in this stage, where it's like you need that gratification every 10 seconds. You need that endorphin kick. So it's just a product of that time. I think they were allowed to while out. You know, they weren't sending as many text messages the way we send them, if you know what I mean. Like, I think that's just a product of the time.
I think, and that was the direct like correlation that we brought, was Tom Holland and Zendaya. It's like I can't open my phone right now without seeing some kind of video in like a recommended thing in some way, shape, or form that's like with them two in it. Now, obviously, they're closer to us in age, right? So it's like it's more acceptable to have that kind of just like out on the internet and stuff like that, you know. And so I think to your point, it's like it's easier to envision that with social media's era. I just always wonder, because like that would be really hard to deal with as a 13 and 14-year-old in today. If you made that movie today and you're 13 on this set and you're trying to figure all that out, like it's almost think it's like it's better that this whole series and that stuff existed in 2005 versus 2015 for that reason, because I don't know if we would have been ready for that at that time.
And Gumps, to your point about Tom Holland, I actually did see that the director told them that they shouldn't date because he did that with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone.
Yeah,
but I was gonna say that you can't really like police it that much. I mean, you can tell somebody like you shouldn't date, but also like going to your point. I mean, these kids have been together for 10 years. Every waking moment of their life was Harry Potter.
Yep.
So it's like I don't know like how much like dating they would do because it's like they're basically their brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like I don't want to. Well, I mean, I don't care if people have seen the reunion or not. It's not like a plot-driven thing. But
like a movie, right?
But when you have Emma Watson and Ron sitting together, like, and they're just talking, it's like they'll always be a part of each other's lives, and it's like I love you, and then he makes that quick, like, as a friend. But but they're talking about how they were together so much over the course of 10 years, like it really is like a family. They're really like siblings. So yeah.
So Rupert Grint, right, the actor for Ron, like I feel like that whole reunion was just a bunch of fucking lies. Excuse me, but like you can't sit here and tell me, oh, we were laughing, this is my brother, like I didn't care, and then I didn't hook up. I mean, they were young, right? So like I think even in today's world, you really don't, unless they're 18. I think there's kind of like this unwritten law where you just leave them the hell alone, right? So anybody under 18, like kid actors, whatever, it doesn't matter who they're dating or what they're doing, because until they hit 18, paparazzi really can't be in your face, or it's like assault.
Fair.
So like so to be about that, you can't really stop anybody from dating anybody on set or just messing around, right? Let's not even call it dating, because that's not what kids do. They mess around, they explore, they learn about their bodies. And I think like school, the reason when you go to school is when you find your girlfriends and your boyfriends, because it's almost like marketing. It's like commercials. If you see that person every day, or if you see that product every day, all of a sudden you're going to like that product. You're going to want to use that product. So just like humans, we're in school, we see those people every day. Oh, that's the person, that's hot. Like, that's who I want. Just like on that Harry Potter set, I guarantee some of them hooked up. In fact, Harry Potter was hollering at Bellatrix Lestrange. That's mentioned there on that reunion. And
that was great. Yeah.
I mean, so they really did test the kids. I read the French team in Goblet of Fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Iron Will.
They were testing those kids, man.
Yeah, I loved that moment between Helena Bonham Carter and Daniel Radcliffe, when he was like, I guess he like wrote her a note or something. It's like, it's like, if only I were like 10 years older. That was a great moment.
She's such an amazing actress.
Yeah. She was fun in the reunion too.
Oh,
she like came with some good energy, and they were like weirded. They were weird to me.
Oh dude,
they
were
like,
awkward.
I wanted to be around.
Yeah.
There's some beef there that nobody's talking about.
There has to be. I feel like she's always been good. Like, what's his face? Tim Burton loves to use her.
Oh,
on
absolutely.
like everything.
Well, I mean, come on. She was in Fight Club. Like, she's she movie. Like,
she's like oddly attractive. Just quote me on that.
For the record.
Like, for the record, she's always been like oddly attractive. Like it's the fire is hot, but you just kind of got to touch it to be sure.
You got to test it.
Let me see what's going on here.
Fair.
You sure you didn't have the hots for Professor McGonagall?
That's a little out of my age bracket, it's like slightly up there. I can tell you though, I wasn't falling for like Hermione or anything like maybe others were. I thought she was okay, but I mean, there was I had other childhood crushes at the time that were just better, in my opinion. So
fair.
Fair enough. So that being said, we're gonna end this podcast with the most important question of them all. Is Neville the real hero of the story? So let's go with Pat first.
There's an argument there, right? Like, especially given that so much of like Harry's story arc is just like he's always doing this thing where it's like, it's got to be me. It's always got to be me. And Neville's just kind of like chugging along, like growing as this human so much more at the end. And man, that speech he does, in the broken Hogwarts corridor, like there's rubble everywhere and everything. And it's just like, talking it out with everybody and just getting everybody hyped while Hagrid's holding like Harry's like, we think his lifeless body kind of thing. And you're just like, man, dude, this guy is it. Like, and after he gets ripped on for 7 movies, like, you're just like, Jesus, let's go, man. But I mean, look, the movie's called Harry Potter. It's like, he's not the real hero. This was just like the culmination of the redemption arc that everybody needed to see, right? It's a Harry Potter movie. He's the hero. Like, this was just a really satisfying character arc that it's like its own form of fan service, but that's just really my take on it.
What do you got for us?
Yeah, so kind of go down this rabbit hole. In the movie, he's the hero. In the books, he's not. I felt like they should have played with it a little more. I felt like that was an idea she had and just kind of cut some material on, because in the books, Harry is the one that casts the spell that kills him. But in the movie, killing the last Horcrux with the Gryffindor sword is actually what kills him and starts to disintegrate him. In my opinion, neither one of them are heroes. Really, it's their friends. It's really their backup, the people they got hanging out with them, this group of misfits. So if you're asking me if Harry's the chosen one, only because he chose to be. And I think that's an underlying topic throughout the entire series, is that I chose to be in Gryffindor. Hey, Neville, we were born days apart. We actually have the same backstory. It could have been me or you, but I chose to say I'm the hero so that the fates can lie on my shoulders and I can handle this for you. And then Neville still helps, right? So I think this whole underlying theme of choosing to be a good person, or to choosing to do this or choosing to do that, it's an underlying theme about the hero-centric we know as Harry Potter.
Fair.
Yeah.
I think that Neville is really the ultimate sidekick. Classic example, Goblet of Fire, when Harry's trying to figure out the whole water trial, and he just comes out with like his herbology book. He's like, this thing lets you breathe underwater. Like, that's a classic Neville. Yeah, you need a weed, bro. So he is just the ultimate sidekick. Harry has the classic hero's journey pretty much, and Neville is there just kind of in the wings like throughout the entire series, and he pops up and he does cool things every now and then, and of course at the end they give him that that awesome moment where he destroys the last Horcrux. But yeah, he is the ultimate wingman, the ultimate sidekick.
I'm the same. I thought, but I feel like Neville is really the hero of the story because he's the man in the shadows. Kind of like Jar Jar is the Sith Lord.
Darth Jar Jar.
Jar Jar. We got Neville killing Nagini. He's coming to the rescue at the end. I do get the points about Harry, but I mean, come on. Neville just had a growth spurt, everything. All points to that guy.
It's just because Neville got hot in the end, but nah, he's
give him some.
It's just a little too late.
Fair.
Yeah, interesting concept though. Like, I guess either one of them could be a hero. It's a coin flip. But if you think about it, if Neville's coming from the shadows, doing everything Neville does, without him, none of it works. None of the story holds up. Even in the first book, when he gets petrified and everything, like, if you really dig down the rabbit hole, you might find out he is truly the hero. So.
See? It's not the hero we deserved. It's the one we needed.
Yeah.
So that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the podcast today. It's always a good time to talk about Harry Potter, and shout out to our guests for coming in and crushing. So with that being said, send us off, Gums.
Unlock more of our podcasts on your favorite streaming services with a flick of the wrist and maybe a small spell. Shout out Aloha Mora, and let's keep it rolling.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Rolling Credits Podcast. Be sure to give us a listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Google Play, or a full video recording on our YouTube page. And be sure to check us out on our social medias at Rolling Credits Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you, and we'll catch you on the next one.